I call this meeting to order for the Administrative Committee meeting. Today's Tuesday, April the 4th, 2023. Public comment? No. Item number 2, agenda items 2.1, review and discussion of revisions to the 2022-2023 compensation plan. Mr. Reyes or Ms. Servillon.
Yes, Mr. Gallegos. If you'd come forward and walk us through the additions and the modifications, well, required modifications, so that we can ensure we compensate our staff.
Good evening, Board President Moreno, members of the board, and Superintendent Mr. Servillon. So before you are some changes to the 22-23 compensation plan. The first change that you see on this compensation plan is we're adding a new position. It's called Chief Technology Officer. So what we're gonna do right now, that's not the one, it's the compensation plan. There we go. Sorry for that. So the first change to the compensation plan will be the addition of the Chief Technology Officer position. This will be an upgrade to the current Director of Technology position that we have posted. And the reason being is because right now, we've already interviewed twice, or the administrative team interviewed twice for the position, the Director of Technology. The first time that we interviewed, or the administrative team interviewed for this position, the candidates that were selected did not meet the criteria or what they were specifically looking for. The second time around, when they interviewed, the person that was selected was asking for $25,000 more than the pay on the compensation plan. At that point, then we realized that the Director of Technology needs to be a competitive position. The pool that we have of applicants is very thin. And we also realized that we need to be competitive not only with school districts, but also with the market value of the positions, only because, yes, technology can work in a school district. Any person that has a technology degree can work in a school district, but they can also find a job outside of a school district. So we need to remain competitive. Also, this person, the one in charge, or the one who is selected for this position, will be in charge of the E-rate, meaning that we are not going to need the consulting services to do that, which costs about roughly $30,000 this school year and last year. One additional thing is, when we had this position posted, I think it was like a couple of years ago, or like 3 years ago, the position remained open for almost about a year before we found a candidate that was selected by, and approved by the board, only because we couldn't find, a qualified candidate for the position. I feel like if we do move this position from Director of Technology to Chief Technology Officer, we will be able to find someone who's going to safeguard our data correctly and properly. Any questions?
Mr. Gallegos, where are we getting the funds to pay?
So currently, the position that we have is a Director of Technology. So what we're going to do is we're just going to be an upgrade from Director to Chief. Right now, this school year, we are saving the salary for that position because we don't have a replacement right now. And additionally, we are also paying around like $30,000, like I said, on E-rate. When this person comes on board, that person will be in charge of doing the other E-rate rebates, which will save the school district those $30,000.
Thank you.
So what would be the benefit to having a person in-house doing that rather than contracting with the company?
If we do it in-house, like I said, we will be saving those $30,000. So we will need someone who actually knows the expertise, the ins and outs of doing E-rate rebates for the school district. And I know some school districts that I worked in the past, the technology director is in charge of doing the E-rates for the district, such as Donna, Ed Cow, Chelsea. They're the ones in charge of, bringing those revenues to the school district instead of paying outside a company.
Sir,
Even San Benito used to do the E-rate on their own. With our previous director, when Ms. Peña was director, she did all the E-rate. So we did not have to have that additional expenditure of $30,000. And so for the last 2 years, we have had that expenditure. And so if we get somebody that's well-versed and knows how to get those refunds back in and utilize the E-rate and maximize the E-rate, then that would not only save us the $30,000, it's gonna bring in the money, right, for us,
that savings is yearly, right?
yearly.
Yes.
They've been doing it $30,000 a year, so they're paying an outside consultant because the person, I guess, did not have the capacity to do it on their own. So we've collapsed this position into a position where it's a very competitive market, technology. And as Mr. Gallego said, hospitals use them, big corporation, banks, et cetera. So we need a competitive salary. As a matter of fact, this last time we did interview, we wanted somebody that knows infrastructure very well. Because of cybersecurity situations, et cetera. So we wanted somebody like that. We actually found somebody. He asked for $27,000 more than we offered. So,
So it would only be a $2,000 savings or $3,000?
yeah, it would be a savings of, well, currently, we were paying our director $100,000, and then the $30,000, if you look at pay grade
The starting
10,
pay is
midpoint.
113,868. The midpoint is 138,023. Usually employees don't go over the midpoint unless they are approved by the superintendent.
And have a lot of experience.
Yeah, at least 20 years of experience.
Sir, so I guess my question is with this, with the collapsing of this position, how is this person gonna be evaluated on the E-rate and what they bring in or what they don't bring in, or who's gonna be evaluating them on that?
So this person will report directly to the superintendent, so the superintendent will be in charge of reviewing, what revenues come in through the E-rate program.
So, Mr. Leon, so I'm assuming that there's like a standard, I'm assuming? Like when it comes to E-rate and how effective that person's gonna be when it comes to that type of structure? 'Cause
Correct.
I'm more sure it was put, I'm more sure it was, outsourced for a reason. So I don't know if we're leaving money on the table or maybe,
No,
I don't know. So I'm just asking. Like,
Here's the updated job description. I should have given it to you initially. Sorry, I forgot it. We had updated it, and I wanted to make sure you all understood that we're also requiring more of this person.
I got you, okay.
I know that the person that has worked with E-rate has been Ms. Peña. I know that she brought in a lot of funding to the district. I also know that when we first got here, when she first got here, actually, there was a grant I wanted to go for, also connected to technology and what we were doing because of the COVID. We had not applied for it, but she initiated and she ran with it. So somebody that's well-versed in grants, any rate, will not only save us the consultant money, but like I said previously, bring in more money, and then I would be able to, because of my background with federal programming, I am pretty well-versed when it comes to federal, any kind of grant writing or any kind of reimbursement.
And you're pretty confident in the fact that you can find somebody that will meet the technology requirements as well as the E-rate component?
I'm hoping, yes.
I did, like I said, I worked in school districts before. I kind of talked to some people that I know in technology that currently hold, a director of technology position. And the people that I, asked, would you be interested in the position? It's been open. They both said that they wouldn't be interested because of the pay. That was one of the things that was brought to our attention.
Now, I would say our biggest perk, I talked to him about it, would be like Saturday and Sunday, right? So we can say that, and we have the spring break, we have, break at Thanksgiving, break at Christmas. So those would be some of the things that I would think would be considered perks, for an individual, and if they have children, et cetera.
Yeah, for someone that works non-school district, then that would be, I guess, one of the benefits to join a school district.
Yes, yes. So I guess you answered my question, Mr. Leon. So Lee, since she has experience, can pretty much be a safety net for us if that person needs any, I guess, assistance. Yeah, so we
Correct.
already have, okay, good, perfect. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Any questions on that item?
Agenda item.
So the second,
No.
well, actually, there's four
There's-
changes.
There's more.
The
There's more.
second
Oh.
change to the compensation plan is
Calm down.
we're adding a dyslexia grant stipend. So this grant was written by, I think, Mr. Edisuris, and part of the grant stipulations includes 4-day sessions for teachers, which includes 60 special education teachers, 30 general education teachers, 20 administrators, which will include counselors, assistant principals, SLPs, LSSPs, and diagnosticians. So our dyslexia teachers will be the ones providing the training for our staff. And as part of the grant, it also includes $150 for 4 half-day sessions for all these employees that will be receiving the training. Questions?
That grant can be paid out of the federal funds that,
It's part of one of the grants. It's called the Dyslexia Grant Award Program. I'm not sure about the funding.
It's
yeah,
that-
because in one of the presentations that Ms. Mata just presented, it said that we had some
Yeah.
room there. Okay.
It
sounds good.
is.
Any questions on that change? Next item. Then another item on the compensation plan will be the addition to the compensation plan will be the teachers or facilitators Saturdays and Sundays for student trips and on and off campus for Gear Up. Right now, we have been paying these services for our Gear Up facilitators and teachers. The only thing is that it was never put in the compensation plan so that we can pay, for these trips. These trips can include university visits such as career-based field trips, educational field trips, academic and career-based campus, and other activities that are related to Gear Up to enhance and meet the goals and objectives of the Gear Up program. Like I said, we have been paying these. The only reason why we're putting it here is because it was never addressed and never placed on the compensation plan. The pay will be $35 an hour for the student trips, and then for summer programs on and off campus for Gear Up, it will be $50. Any questions?
So I want to elaborate. So basically, we've been paying this, but it's not in our plan. So therefore, their grant calls for it to be in our grant. We set those standards. So when we saw that we didn't have it and we changed what we were doing on at payroll, they're like, why are we not getting this compensation? It's written in the grant. It's not written in the grant because we went through the grant. So basically what the grant says is you need to delineate it on your compensation plan and then you can get the reimbursement. So we've been, I guess, doing it, for lack of better words, wrong for the last, 4 or 5 years. And they're used to it, but we just needed to include it. So we're going to continue with it now that if you all approve it, and then it'll be in compliance.
Yeah, so we just want to make sure that we want to rest assure the teachers and facilitators that they will be paid for this. It's just putting in the compensation plan so that you all are aware of it and that it's, visible to employees as well in the compensation plan.
And this will be, you just said it's paid for by the grant, it just needed to be
It
delineated.
will be reimbursed, yes.
Ma'am. Any questions on that change? And then the last change on the compensation plan is what Mr. Isasi talked to you all about in the last board meeting. It's the graduation requirement and retester stipend for high school and BMA. For the high school, there's a total of 26 teachers that will qualify for this stipend. And for BMA, there will be a total of 17 teachers. And this is for subjects such as math and English at the high school. And then BMA includes math, English, and biology. Any questions?
Any more questions? Agenda item.
Okay.
Item 2.2, review and discussion and revisions to policy BED local. Ms. Servillon.
Yes, sir. Also, Mr. Gallegos has that information for us.
Good evening, Board President Moreno, members of the board, and Superintendent Mr. Villon. So before you are some revisions to board policy BED local. As you can see, anything that's in blue will be the additions to the policy, and anything in red
It's
will
in
be
black.
things that we are deleting from the policy. When I spoke to TASB about the policy, they did let me know that BED local on our side, it's an outlier. The majority of the school districts in Texas and in the region only allow, public comments to be 3 minutes or 5 minutes, but not per topic. It's a total of 5 minutes. If you have 10 topics, you're still gonna get 5 minutes. If you have 15, 20 topics or just one topic, you get up to 5 minutes, between 3 to 5 minutes. It will be dependent upon the school district to decide if we wanna do 3 or 5 minutes. So basically what the policy says is we are changing those 3 minutes per topic to 5 minutes total, not to exceed 5 minutes. At special board meetings, public comments should be limited to the terms or items on the agenda posted. And then one of the changes also includes if the board president needs to rearrange some items on the agenda, the board president might do so by reordering the agenda items, deferring to public comments on non-agenda items, continuing agenda items, or providing expanded opportunities for public comments, or establishing an overall time limit for the public. So basically, the major change, like I said, is just changing the 3 minutes per topic to 5 minutes total.
So that needs to be addressed because it's not written into the adjustment. It just says, except as permitted by this policy and the board procedures on public comment, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 5 per minute, per meeting. And it should be, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 5 minutes per meeting.
These are the revisions that TASB provided for us. This is basically the policy that the verbiage that TASB is recommending, and this is what's been adopted by I guess, surrounding school districts or any other district. But if you want to make changes, then I can provide those changes to,
Well,
or
just
propose.
because in this.
minutes, right? The
in
word
this-
minutes?
In this,
Word minutes.
in this, yeah, in this revision, it doesn't say 5 minutes anywhere. When I read, when I was going over the agenda and I read it, I was like, does that mean not exceed 5 topics per meeting? There's a word
That's the
missing.
question that I had. We could do any topic if, within the 5 minutes.
You can do a bunch of topics.
I know, because Mamie said 5 topics, right?
No, the word minutes is missing under procedures. So go to the second,
Well,
to the final
if you look at the
paragraph.
last sentence where it says, except as permitted by this policy and the board's procedures on public comments and individuals' comments to the board shall not exceed 5 minutes. You're right.
5 minutes.
Sorry, I saw it.
And I had another question. At special meetings, it has to be items on the agenda, correct?
Yes, sir, that's what they're recommending. That's
what
what
they're
TASB is recommending.
Now, clarification on that, also based on Ms. Maney's question earlier. Special meetings, what does that mean? Because special meeting is a special board meeting to me, a special called meeting, emergency meeting, those are special meetings.
So
When we
the-
talk about committee meetings, that to me would not be special meetings.
Yeah, that to me is not considered a special meeting, but just to be on the safe side, I did email TASB when Ms. Mamie had that question.
Okay.
In reference to clarification as to whether or not a committee meeting is considered a regular meeting or a special board meeting. Once I get the clarification from the TASB representative, then I'll let you all know, and I'll email you or disseminate that information to the superintendent.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Moreno, just to add a little bit of information, typically speaking, anything other than a regular meeting would be considered a special meeting. So if there's a desire to delineate that, then I would suggest that it be specified in the TASB in the board policy. And just one other note about this, because there's been discussion at prior meetings about the handling of public comment and the public comment period. And Mr. Gallegos referred to this a moment ago, but just so everyone knows, TASB, Texas Association of School Boards, prepares model board policies that are used by almost all school districts across the state. And these policies that have been presented to the board are a form of TASB model policies. So when they're proposed or when they're suggested to TASB that you might want to adjust your board policies, there's a process that kicks off. And what happens is any proposed adjustment to local policy by a school district gets run through TASB's legal department. And if they have issues or concerns about the compliance of the proposal in light of Texas law, what they will do is make a suggestion to you regarding potential adjustments. So that's a long way of saying that any change to local policy is going to be vetted through TASB and their legal department. And that's the process that results in the policies that are before the board.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Any more questions, board members? Agenda item.
Thank you.
Any committee concerns? Okay, I close this meeting at 6:57 PM.